What is good, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you all had a great Christmas. It's been amazing to find some time today to be able to do another video for you, and I'm back again with the SP404-MK2. I've been dropping some videos recently just sharing general tips for this, and they've been performing really well. So in today's video I'm going to carry on with that theme, and I'm going to talk about customizations that I think you should do with this device. Now, compared to the SX and the A, this is such a step up, this machine, and there's loads of different ways you can customize it. So I put together a list of my favorites and I'm going to share those with you today. Just before I get started, thank you all so much for the support over the past couple of weeks. Loads of you have picked up beat packs from my store, so if you want to head over to SPVIDZ.com and take a look at that would be really appreciated. All the links are in the description below. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone that's visited and made a purchase over the past couple of weeks, especially this time of year. It really does help me out, so I really appreciate that. And also thanks for just being subscribers as well. There's been a lot of new subscribers over the past couple of days, and I assume it's because a lot of you have either picked up a unit for Christmas or you've got some money for Christmas and you're thinking of getting one, so I hope my videos are helping you understand what this unit is all about. Okay, so as usual, let's get set up down on the desk and I'll run you through these tips and hopefully they will help with your workflow. Okay guys, so here we are at the SP404-MK2, and the first tip that I want to show you is about the MFX buttons that you see at the top here. Now, if you've come from the SX or the A, you may not be aware that these are actually fully customizable. You can now change these to whatever effect you want. Obviously you can't change the actual text that's on them, so you do just kind of have to remember which ones you've set them to. So if you go to Shift and 16, you go directly into EFX set, and you can see the menu across the top here. It starts on favorites usually. If you just keep scrolling across, you will get to a point where it says direct, and you can see here that the button at the top has started flashing quite furiously to show us that that's the one we've got selected. And you can scroll down each one and you can go into the sub menu and change it to whatever effect that you want. The only one you can't change is MFX, because obviously that's the way you access all the other MFX in that menu. So you can't customize that one, but the other 5 are completely up for grabs, so you can go ahead and do that in there. You can see here I've got mine set up filter drive, 404 vinyl sim instead of resonator, delay is the same, then isolate is the same, and DJ effects loop is the same for me because I use those effects quite a lot. So I've only actually customized one at the moment because all the others I quite like having those to hand. Okay, the next one is for buses. Now if you go to bus 1 and bus 2, your pads will light up in different colors. Now this is obviously just a kind of personal taste thing. It doesn't actually affect the functionality of the unit, but what I noticed is that I actually didn't really like the colors that it gives you by default. I think it gives you green and red. So what you can do is go in and customize those, so you can make it even more clearer, or you can make it 2 colors which are more pleasing on your eye when you're using your device. I think that's like the most important thing about this really, is that it just makes your workspace a bit more personalized and more friendly to work at. So you may be able to see on mine that I've got mine bus 1 as kind of a green, and then if I go to bus 2, I've set those to like a pink colour. So I'm not sure you'll be able to see the difference, but if I cover this, maybe you will be able to. You can hopefully see there that my bus 1 is blue and my bus 2 is a kind of pink colour. So I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. Go to Shift and Utility and go to Pad Set. And if you scroll across to the second tab at the top, you can see bus colour, and you can set bus colour 1 and bus colour 2. And you can set dry as well. Now that means you've got no buses assigned to that pad. I have mine at default, which is white. I think that's the best colour just because it kind of definitely makes me feel that there's nothing on that pad having it white. And with this you can go through the full spectrum, so you'll see their numbers. You can use the value wheel to scroll through until you get the exact kind of hue or colour that you want. So I quite like that. I find that it adds a nice personal touch, and yeah, I just prefer working with those colours. They were 2 which really stood out for me as being quite nice to look at. Okay, the next one, and this is something that people have put in the comments quite a lot, is that they hate the feel of the pads on the Mark II, and that's probably because you haven't played with the settings for the pad sensitivity. So this is something that you can customize, and you can customize it to your taste and your playing style, and I think this can make a massive difference to how this device actually feels in your hands. So I really do think this is probably one of the first things that you should do, is figure out what sensitivity you like your pads. So if you go to Shift and Pad Set, which is 15, again we're back in with the colours where we were before. If we scroll to the first menu item, we can see trigger here. Now it's definitely worth looking in the manual as to what each of these do. You can do all sorts of different customizations here. Curve type, exponential, you can choose a threshold, You can choose the gain of a pad when you press it, and you can choose the trig span as well. So make sure you have a look at what those settings can do, and you can customize those to taste, because everyone has different tastes when it comes to pads, I think, and this is really important that you get these nailed on. And also, if you're finding that your pads are triggering other pads next to them, that's another reason why it could be happening. It could be something to do with the threshold, that the threshold's so low that when you hit a button quite hard, the one next to it vibrates and senses that as being pressed. So it'll trigger that one as well. I had a lot of trouble with that when I first got this device, so that's definitely worth investigating. Go into your trigger options and play around with those and make them nice and customized to exactly the way you want them. Okay, another one is bus favorites. Now, as you know, the way that buses work is that you have your kind of 1 and 2, which you assign through the bus FX button. Then you have 3 and 4, which are kind of set up as master effects. But the way that you add these is by using your favorites. So you can see here I'm scrolling down and straight away it's going to give me favorite 1, favorite 2, favorite 3. I find this area quite fiddly really, but basically if you want to customize these favorites, let's say I go to 1 using the value wheel, and that's 303 vinyl sim and 404 vinyl sim. Now that's the most common one that I use, so that's why it's set as my number 1 favorite. But if you scroll across to bus 3 and 4, using the tabs at the top, this is where you can change them. So if I change that to another effect, that would then be saved on favorite 1, and the same goes for bus 4 as well. So you might want to go through the defaults that the device gives you and just set up the first 3 or 4 to be combinations that you really like using, because it will save you so much time in the long run. Just because this area is so fiddly, I really don't like it that much, to be honest, but that's the way it is, and I can't really think of a better way either. So yeah, make sure you spend some time, go into your favorite tab, choose some favorites for 3 and 4, and go through and customize those. You can see in the bottom right here, it says favorite 1, favorite 2, 3, 4, etc. And you can have up to 16. So you can go ahead and set up 16 favorites, and then you can just quickly cycle between them when you're making a beat. That'll mean that your workflow isn't as interrupted, and you can carry on making beats quickly without having to constantly be diving into the menus for 3 and 4. So yeah, make sure you go in, get those customized, ready for when you're making beats, and it'll save you a lot of time in the long run. Okay, this is one of my favorites, and it's the pop-ups. When you get this device, oh my god, the pop-ups were driving me absolutely insane, and it's kind of like microseconds that it's on the screen for, but it really was ruining my workflow. I think with these devices, there is kind of an emphasis on speed and doing things very quickly, and when those pop-ups just kept getting in the way, honestly, they were driving me absolutely insane. But luckily you can actually get rid of them. So if you go to shifting utility, which is shift and 13 again, system, and you can see here, if you scroll down, pop-up time. Now if you click on that, you can see I've got mine as off. You can set it to short, normal. I just turn mine off completely. I don't need confirmation to be told that something I've done has been done. I know I've done it, I've just pressed the keys for it, so I don't need that confirmation. I've turned mine off, and that's an absolute game changer. It just makes the workflow of this device about 2 or 3 times faster. That's no joke. Those pop-ups are just hanging on the screen and are just really annoying. So yeah, make sure you do that if you hate the pop-ups. I think that's a really good tip. Another one, which I only just found out the other day, so back into utility again. If you go to system, now if you like using skip back, when the 404 Mark II got updated to version 2.0, they extended the skip back to 40 seconds. But what I didn't know is that you have to actually enable this in the settings. I thought skip back was just a fixed thing, and then when they did the update, I thought it just extended it automatically because it was just a fixed thing. But it turns out if you go into general settings again, scroll down, and you can see here you've got SBS time. Now mine is on long now, but that's defaulted to def. Not exactly sure what def stands for, but that is the shorter one basically, so that's the one pre 2.0. So if you change that to long, you then get the full 40 seconds, so that's definitely worth doing. I think I did a short about that recently, but that was definitely one which I wanted to include in this video as well. Okay, one more that I want to show you is that you can actually change the count-in time, which is quite useful if you're someone that uses the pattern sequencer a lot. A lot of you will probably prefer to have 2 bars as a count-in instead of 1 bar. 1 bar, you don't really get a real good sense of the time. I think 2 bars really does give you a much better feel of what the timing is. So if you go to shift and 10, which is count-in, you can see there it said count in 1 measure, count in 2 measures, count in wait, and count in off. So I've got mine set to 1 measure. If you want to cycle it to 2 measures, you can do here, and wait and off. I'm going to leave it back at 1 measure, but that's where you can change how long it clicks for before the pattern starts recording, or if you're using a click for resampling as well, that will apply to that as well. but that is seriously handy if you prefer to have a 2-bar lead in to your patterns. Okay, and last but by no means least, this is just a bit of a fun one, but it's the custom screens that you can put on the SP404 Mark II when you boot up. Now I've got a full video about this, which I will leave a link to. There's no point me explaining the whole thing again because the process is pretty long-winded for getting them on the device, and it's per project basis as well. So if you are on project 1, you close down your SP, you boot it up again, it will load the custom screens for project 1. If you go to 2 and then turn it off, turn it back on, you won't see those custom screens because it's on a per project basis. I'll leave a link in the top right hand corner for that one. Go and check that one out, and don't forget on the SPVIDZ store as well, I'll put up a little thumbnail to show you all the ones that are included, but I've got a pack on there which they're all designed and ready to go. You can drop them straight onto your SD card and set those up for your custom graphics when you boot up. It's not that difficult to do, it's just that the process is quite long, but it's really easy to follow it, so check out the video and you'll see how to do that. Okay guys, that is it for this video. I hope these tips were useful. I hope they help your workflow. I hope they mean that you can use the SP404 Mark II even faster than you already have been. Like I've already mentioned, don't forget to check out all the links below in the description for the ways you can support me. You can become a member, you can go to SPVIDZ.com, you can make a straight donation here on YouTube. Everything is greatly appreciated, and as I mentioned, if you're new around here as well, don't forget to smash that subscribe button as I drop videos like this on a weekly basis. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you all have a great new year. I'll probably won't be back until the new year now, so have a good one, take it easy and keep making beats. Peace.